What's the craziest thing you did just because you were hornies? When I was about 18 my computer broke. I only lasted about a week before not being able to watch the naught things. Broke my sanity. My brother, 15 years old, left the house. I immediately ran to his room to use his computer to masturbate. I got to my Amex and frantically searched for something to blow my load on. I finished in a small paper cup used for mouthwash. Shortly after I finished my brother beats on his door. I scurry around cleaning up. I set the paper cup on his top bookshelf. I would come back another time to throw it away. I quickly left his room without explaining myself. 5 minutes later I hear a loud scream then. Ooh, is this spludge? It's warm. Oh flip. He saw it on his shelf, went to grab it, and dropped it onto his bare foot. It went between his toes. I've never laughed so hard in my life. I was with my so for about 4 months I believe, and we were out to go see World War Z, just the two of us. It just came out, so it was crowded, but we managed to get the front row. In the front row you're able to put the seats back, and they're nice seats, so we always tried to go in the front row. Well, little did I know that my boyfriend was a bit riled up and wanted me to give him a little something. It was fun at first. He had a jacket, and it was dark. It was only a handy J, after all. About 4 minutes into it, he starts begging me to give him blowy GJ. I'm a nice and stupid person, so I agree to it. He ends up finishing, and I put my head up. I then realize everyone was able to see what I just did. The seats were even back, so people could get a better view. Next to us was this elderly couple. I regretted everything about it, but I was never kicked out of the theater. He still brings the story up and says we should do it again. TL. Doctor I gave. So beach in a movie theater in front row. Everyone saw. Edit I swallowed. In college, me and a religious girl decided to have bleep in the girls' dressing room, in the shower. And there we are, making out. She is without her bra, pants down to the knees when something happened. 20 girls dressed with swimsuits come rushing into the dressing room. Me and the girl froze in place, and I'm instantly regretting being there. Lucky they couldn't see us, because the showers have that blurry glass doors and you can't really see who is inside. But I had to get out that shower, because the girls would want to use it. Then, the gods whispered in my ear, and I opened the shower glass door and rushed to the dressing room door. I don't know how, and I don't know if that is even possible, but I left the shower full dressed and looking to every unclothed girl in that room. Boozomba dunks, am I right? The girls don't react, and I leave, like I'm invisible. Then, the girl I was making out leaves, and ask how the bleep I pass the girls without them seeing me, and I tell her I don't bleeping know. We could have been expelled easily. I posted this before. Usually tried to keep church off limits, but failed this one time. I was on the bus to a church conference. FWB was in the same seat. It was like a 20-hour drive, so a lot of the bus was asleep. Well, she throws a blanket over us and goes to town with her hand. I start getting close and say IDK what we are going to clean it up with, to which she responds, don't worry about it, just let me know when. Somewhat confused, a few seconds later I tell her now. Her head disappears under the blanket, and that is how I found heaven. Okay, I've only told close friends this story, but I'll tell it for the karma. When I was coming into puberty, I was jacking a lot, but my house had a no lock doors policy and my family would walk in a lot for no reason. I came up with the idea of turning on the shower in the bathroom, attached to my room, then would jack in my bed. Family thought I was showering, and would let me lock my door. There was a second room attached to my bathroom, which meant 2 doors in the bathroom. Will be important later. Well, one night, I start my routine. Turn the shower on, grabbed a handful of conditioner, returned to bed to beat the meat. Well, about 10 minutes into this particular sesh, I hear my father stomping up the stairs shouting my name. My heart starts racing. How the flip does he know I'm jacking? Is my thought. I can't get in trouble for anything right now. He will think I can't hear him in the shower. I lay perfectly still like a T-Rex is approaching. He begins banging on my door, shouting my name. I hear him run around back toward the guest room to try the other door to the bathroom. What the flip is his problem? I think. Not sure if the other door is locked. I jump out of bed so I can hop in the shower and get wet, so he thinks I was actually showering. I opened the door to the bathroom and a small wall of water is released into my bedroom. The entire bathroom had flooded. Somehow a rag had fallen onto the shower drain and flooded the whole bathroom. I opened the door to the guest room, buck naked with a huge hard-on. I have no idea why it didn't go down. It was raining downstairs. Dad was the angriest I had ever seen him. I ended up having to spend the entire night mopping the water up with towels and throwing them in the dryer. My dad had to replace a lot of the second floor, and my family ripped on me about that story for years. Not really the worst thing I've done, but on my 17th birthday my girlfriend at the time asked me to pick her up at her house before we went to get dinner. When I arrived at her place, I got a text saying my parents just left, come to my room, this is where it gets interesting. I open her bedroom door to find her bad uncle's snack on her bed. By now I'm thinking hell yes, it's about to happen. Naturally I get in bed and we begin making out. I quickly remove all my clothes. About 10 minutes into just kissing while no clothing, I make the first move. This is when I get the worst news possible. I don't want to have bleep. She says I'll give you a handy jable though. This bleep starts jerking me like a gorilla trying to pull an oak tree out of the ground. I decide to take the torture for a couple of minutes. How can I tell my no clothing girlfriend to quit pleasing me? At what I believe to be the 4-minute mark I feel the worst pain I have ever felt. I look down to see what possible damage has been done when I see blood all over her hands and my weenie. This bleep ripped the skin on my weenie. Not rubbed, she ripped that shizzer. Needless to say, we did not go to dinner that night. I was talking to this girl, and she was far more experienced than me and very wild. I didn't know that firsthand, but I got that vibe from her, which is what prompted me to try and make something happen. Well, I quickly learned my assumption was right. 2 days into talking to her we decide to hang out after school. Nothing too crazy, just go to the library and maybe walk around the town and get lunch. Somehow that plan derailed. We would up sitting on the steps of some unused county building next to an apartment building that consisted of predominantly old folks. There were about 5 to 10 out front of the building talking and playing chess. We could clearly see them, so I assumed the inverse was true. Well, my new female friend decided that she wanted to show off her oral skills, and what better time than with an elderly audience. Me, being a horny 17-year-old, was far from arguing against the idea. So, I leaned up against the steps and enjoyed while listening to the nearby elderly applause. About 10 minutes into her skillful oral attention I hear sirens and snap out of the haze I was in. I tried to get her attention, because while this was lovely, I was pretty sure it was also illegal in public, but she just looked up at me and just grinned and said, "I'm not done," and held me down and continued with vigor. At this point I can't even describe how I felt. Probably some mix of terrified and elated, and anxious and excited and wonderful. As I stayed there panicking in my head I see the source of the siren pull into the apartment building. It was an ambulance. One of the old men that was watching and cheering, I can only assume, had a heart attack. As he was placed on the stretcher and carried to the ambulance, the EMT noticed us. More accurately, he noted my shocked face and my companion oblivious bobbing away and just smiled and went about his work. As they drove off he looked at me and winked. To this day I look at that place and laugh and smile and get hard and feel bad, but most importantly I wonder if that old guy really enjoyed the show. I put a chocolate muffin in the microwave, then stuck my bleep in the muffin once it warmed up. I thought I heard someone coming, so I shoved everything in my shorts and pulled my underwear up, getting chocolate on everything. With the crisis averted, I took off my shorts and underwear and threw the whole chocolate mess in the laundry basket. My mom gave me a weird look after doing the laundry, but said nothing else. In conclusion, 10/10ths would stick bleep in chocolate muffin again. Got an in-house suspension, which is when you have to sit in a room all day at school rather than stay at home. The room I had to stay in was attached directly to the vice principal's office. It had nothing in it except for a table and a chair. I was supposed to be doing homework all day. After a few hours of doing nothing and no one checking in on me, I beat the heck out of my bleep, came on the carpet,